welcome from my side to the session within the Global Probono Week. Thank you very much, Namada and Annette, for joining us here. My name is Elisabeth von Kampenhausen. I'm part of the executive circle of the BMW Foundation, and the Global Pro Bono Network has been co-initiated by the BMW Foundation some years ago to allow initiatives around the world to spark ideas, share best practices, learn from each other, and to enhance the impact for better collaboration between social initiatives and corporates. And therefore, it's a real pleasure for me to be here today and to see how this network of organization now spans the world really and has developed into a very buzzing community of purpose. The initiative I would like to share with you today is the pro bono component of a leadership program of the BMW Group, the founding corporate behind the BMW Foundation. The program is called ReadyGO, and it is a customized program specifically designed for leaders who have designated potential for so-called function level 2, which is senior management level. And the program offers participants for the course of a year the opportunity to actively develop their leadership capabilities as drivers of sustainable transformation within the BMW Group. In alignment with the BMW strategy and, of course, its leadership competency model, the participants are challenged to develop the organization through the learning aims of disrupt, develop, and drive, as we call it. The BMW Foundation is supporting this journey already since 2016 by offering the participants to step out of the box of their corporate routines and to learn about what we call responsible leadership, sustainability, social innovation, about purpose, and also about cross-sector collaboration. But what we understood very quickly is that we found it very easy to inspire and to convey of some of the messages which are very close to our heart. But it was very difficult to make a lasting connection to the daily work and challenges of the BMW executives because our worlds were just too far apart. And so we quickly decided that it's not enough to inspire. We also needed to engage and invite participants of ReadyGO to actively enter into the world of a social enterprise, into its struggles, its agility, its often very precarious financing, its often very flexible operation conditions, and also with its passions and purpose by actively rolling up the sleeves and engage in the long run. And that really made a huge difference. And that is what we want to talk about today. So we invited social enterprises to participate in the year-long journey of ReadyGO, bringing their very different perspectives into the debates, which was always a huge asset. And they would also bring a very specific challenge to the table and ask for concrete skills and experiences that they would need from BMW to help solve the challenge or at least make tangible progress on it. And then we at the BMW Foundation match the BMW participants according both to their interests or passion and to their skills, so that each social enterprise has a team of some 5 or 6 managers around them to collaborate, mainly virtually then for the course of 10 months. And in the course of this program, the BMW participants contribute to the so-called purpose partnerships with their experience, knowledge, and expertise, and are fostered to broaden their horizons by learning from the social entrepreneur's perspective and by developing responsible leadership and an entrepreneurial mindset with a real social purpose. So much for ReadyGO, and I just wanted to give a bit of a background so that we know what we're talking about. We now have 2 participants of the ReadyGO, the current running ReadyGO program with us today. And that is, on the one hand, Annette Baumeister, who is head of material and color design at the BMW Group company, which with different stations in the field of design with both BMW and Mini, which also gave her the chance to work in Shanghai for 3 years. And also with the design lens, we have Namada Ramakrishna with us, who is founder of the social enterprise Pink Maharani, based in Geneva, which strives to empower women, support the education of girls, and allow to generate sustainable livelihoods for families in Southern Asia, mainly through high-quality sustainable fashion. And who now tries to build a platform which enables producers, customers, and all service providers along the value chain to profit from a higher market share, from transparency and shared services and investments, which make sure that that the impact happens with the families and not in the industry as such. We all know about the flaws of the fashion industry, and Namada is really trying to build a niche, hopefully a large niche, where sustainable fashion can grow. Namada, before you got in touch with your team from BMW, what did you expect? What surprised you perhaps when you started the collaboration?
So thank you first of all for having me here, and it's really a pleasure to be sharing this experience because I think we need more of these experience. So what before the program started, I would say I was a bit skeptical. I want to be honest. Given the kind of people we would be connected to, we knew they're all quite high up in the corporate chain. And we're quite small as a company. Sure, we have big plans and visions, but I was really skeptical about how they could help us looking at our problems, our tiny problems in a lens and be able to help, or more than able, I would say willing and committed with passion and purpose to help. So I was skeptical about that, which is, I must say, dramatically changed ever since then. I've been proven very wrong. I'm very happy about that. So yeah, that's how I felt before I started the program.
Well, thank you for sharing. Annette, you had the unusual situation to engage in two projects with ReadyGO, as last year the program was called off due to Corona, straight after we had launched the collaboration, and where you and many of your colleagues still stayed engaged throughout the year despite the circumstances, which was really touching to see. So Pink Marani is already your second pro bono engagement within this framework. Can you share what made the collaboration valuable for you personally? What was the value add?
So yes, thank you. I had the pleasure of being in the program twice. So I just have to think about what can I answer first. I think in the first place, let me start from last year. I think, of course, it was great that we met in person in the program. We had the possibility of having share outs and little workshops where we got to know each other pretty quickly and pretty intense. And that also helped us a lot in sticking together after the program was cancelled. I think it was clear that we keep on working with each other because you have also this personal commitment, and you had the insight, and you just look at a company which is so dedicated like we are at BMW, and you just feel very close to each other. So I think that helped a lot. And I think what I just learned from last year is even the slightest connection, conversation, share out can help a lot on both sides to have another perspective to the world, to what others are engaged in, but also from the other side to really be committed and try to solve problems which might sound small, but can make a big difference. And I really, really enjoyed the program last year. So I was really excited this year to work in this program again. And this year I have the pleasure to work with Namada, who is actually also, doing working with beautiful products, doing design, empowering designers or craftsmen, and I think that just I felt very close to this to what you're doing, Namada. It's I think it often also has a personal link that helps a lot. And then, of course, I think what I really liked about the program this year, you were very clear in what you wanted us to do. You were challenging us in a totally different way, and I really liked that. Yeah, last year it was more like it happened, and you seem to be so clear and have your little work packages, and I think we work in a much more organized way to really tackle these topics and step one step forward. And again, it has all facets of what you can wish. I think I just learned that it's all linked to each other, and your platform is just looking at so many different aspects. And I can also see a direct link to what I'm doing at the moment at work. It just it just helps me bringing things together, which might not have occurred beforehand.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, great to hear that. Namada, what was the greatest value for you so far? You're still in the middle of the journey.
Yeah, so like you introduced in the beginning, Think Maharani is an established social business. So we work with a specific set of artisans we've been working with for the past 6 years. So that's quite established. What we're trying to build right now is MetaMuse, is the platform. It's a digital B2B platform where we want to help the world source sustainably, whatever comes to mind, but with the roots of the products being produced by artisans, or having some sort of a core going to small businesses or social businesses or businesses owned by minority groups or women. So that's sort of the focus. So when I think about that, and I think about the fact that we're doing the ReadyGO program with BMW Group, which is one of the biggest automobile names in the world, it's always been my dream since I was, 12 or something, in my to-do list before I was 30 to buy a BMW. And it was written, and I come from a very humble, middle-class family in India, which probably for a long time couldn't even dream of cars. So for me to write on a piece of paper when I was 10 saying one day I will drive a BMW was like a crazy thing to do. Then my father found that piece of paper a few years ago and he said, look, you wrote this down when you were 10 years old, where we didn't even own a car. And now to be working with some of the top talents in BMW, I mean, it's surreal. I mean, this is like from a movie, So it's really a big deal for us to be working with a big corporate company. That's one thing. And second thing is we see the connection, the power and the scale it can bring. So for example, without mentioning any details, we're internally discussing with Annette and the others how we could bring this sourcing possibility to corporates, including BMW itself, and trying to find solutions of how we could become sourcing partners. In that journey, we have a lot to learn because we're very tiny. So we are learning in that process. We are learning how to grow, how to scale, but more with a great structure and think about things that probably we wouldn't think about. One other person in the group is Astrid Moff, who's also amazingly brilliant in the group, and she's head of purchasing, if I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure, she changed positions. And I had a talk with her and one of her colleagues, and he's such an amazing guy, Oliver, his name is. But I would have never met Oliver if it was not for this program. And we just shared a common interest about handmade wooden toys. And these handmade wooden toys come from a very tiny village in the south of India. And he has worked with Russia for such a long time, and now he's in Germany doing purchasing and whatnot. But then to be connected to this little element of handmade wooden toys would have never happened without the program. And so it sort of opens my eyes, being a small business, trying to build this platform, that there is a lot of opportunity. There is really a lot of scope to what we want to do. I think it is being connected to the right partners and the right people in the process is what is going to benefit both parties. Because yes, ultimately we want to become a successful, sustainable, fair, ethical platform. But on the other hand, we also want to be great service providers to big corporates like BMW and alike. So I think it's a wonderful balance that this program has found its voice through the ReadyGO program. So and that's why I feel we have to have such programs with other companies and other civil society members more um, to give this opportunity to each other. Otherwise, we never have access to these opportunities.
Well, thank you. Now, both of you have been so positive, but I'm sure it has also been a bumpy ride at some time, wasn't it? So when we started, one of our intention was also, Annette, I have to be honest, to lure you into an environment out of the box, to allow for friction to happen, for these uneasy moments, which is probably also when new thoughts can emerge and new insights come up, which is sometimes an uncomfortable place to be in. And I would just like to know if that happened to both of you, if you had those moments where you felt, oh, really? And then, you have to go through that valley to perhaps come up with very new insights and creativity also, which might emerge from that uneasiness and friction. I don't know if any of you has had any of such experiences. Annette, perhaps you would like to start.
I didn't have any of these experience actually in working with Narmada, I must admit. The uneasiness comes maybe from not spending enough time on that program, which I would like to do. I really would like to do it. And I'm unsatisfied with Narmada, you're positive, but I feel, and I'm positive about the work we are doing together, but I'm not so positive about the results yet. Yeah, I just feel we are going forward and then we are going backwards again. Because let's face it, although we are connected to you, the rest of the company has no commitment, and the rest of the company also has their own projects, and I feel that this is a longer struggle than we think. So some of the positive feedbacks from the beginning turn out to be disappeared, vanished, and I feel and I'm of course disappointed about that, because for me nothing can go quick enough. I want to do something. I want to see a result. Yeah. And I think that the idea is so great, and sustainability is such a big topic here. Everybody's talking about it, and I would just and if this happens to me in my department, I just take it and run. Yeah, because this is what we've been waiting for, and now I've got the permission to do so, and I feel like, why is nobody? Where's the rest? And I know there are reasons, and I know that there is, again, also from my side, not enough time to spend on following up and finding other solutions like I do at work. Because I have to solve it, and with this program, it's I feel also the limited time. I just feel we are running out of time, and this is something I feel uncomfortable about. I'm not satisfied because we cannot give enough, in my opinion, of what we also dreamt of.
Yeah, I understand. Narmada, how does it feel for you? Did you have moments of friction or uneasiness?
Yeah, I totally agree also with Annette. Directly working with the ReadyGO team, I never felt that. I actually felt the opposite, that they were always trying whatever in their power to do something, to move something. The only, if you can call it friction, I would say was felt exactly what Annette put it so beautifully, is this back and forth, this knowing but not knowing, working out but not working out. So Astrid, the other one in the team, she mentioned that we need a big win. And the last time I spoke to her, we had a call, and she said, Narmada, you just need one big win. That's it. Then we can, close the program with, like, not debut, but close the program with a pop of a champagne and then say, great, we did it. So I think this is where we're also at a little bit. But funnily, Nicole, also another member, she took the initiative to connect me to one of her contacts, which had nothing to do with the company, but just having had a professional experience, and I'm talking to that company, and they are exploring sourcing sustainable giveaways for exhibitions and employee motivation, which can be massive because they're really sincerely interested in bringing sustainability to the agenda, not just in the carbon neutral way, but also really the social sustainability. Because what people forget about this whole ESG talk is, yes, there is the environment. I totally agree. If the world doesn't exist and if the earth goes under, it's all done. Okay. But there are still these people who are struggling on an everyday basis just to pay school fees and get water and pay insurance and pay bills. I mean, I think you and me probably, we are very privileged to be sitting where we are, and we would not understand this fully. But this reality in some other part of the world exists in the, unfortunately, in a very, very loud way, you know. The products just came, they just arrived. These products just arrived. These are cashmere blankets embroidered by a group of women who just after the Lebanon port blast, they just said they're not going to give up. This story always makes me so emotional because they could have just said, okay, the world is done, I'm done. They said, no, we can work. It doesn't matter who died and how many jobs we lost and all that. It's like, we can work, we can do amazing embroidery. So we're going to start something. They said, okay, let's, so they just 6 months ago, this thing was started. It's incredible. And now they're featured on Reuters, I think, if I'm not wrong, or BBC, so this determination of passion is there. And I think big corporates need to be reminded there is the S in the ESG. And the S is a huge part of our whole conversation. If you want the kids to not throw plastic bottles in the ocean, it is the people you speak about. It's the education you have to give. It's about, you see what I mean? So
absolutely.
I think, and my friction and my frustration, I think, comes from that area of we have to spend more time on somehow imparting this knowledge or trying to have an open discussion at least with people with the resources and with the power and with the influence to see that, yes, there are many things that are important, but equally important are people in different parts of the world who have skills. That's the beauty of this, at least in what we do, to be honest. We are not UNHCR doing or Human Rights Watch doing refugee work or, which is really dire. It's not that where we are like hopeless. Here, the kind of people we work with is, we know they have skills. We know they have ethics and values, and we know they're good at something. You see, all they need is a little nudge. That's all. It's really not much.
An opportunity. No, and you're so right. I think that's the beauty about the Sustainable Development Goals, that you have, like, you can't take out climate and not tackle, gender equality or poverty or fighting hunger. It really goes hand in hand. And if we don't tackle it hand in hand, we're going to lose the game, I think. If we don't tackle climate with justice, if we don't tackle human development with ecological restoration, it's not gonna work out. And I couldn't agree more. But you said one thing, Namada, if I may, to come to just point it out. Twice said that some people in the team connected you to somebody else, and that also created impact for you. And I think that is one of the impact areas of pro bono, which we often overlook, that all of us holds really potent networks, and that we normally can't really make that fruitful for somebody else because we're not in that context of opening our doors. But if Annette knows somebody and says, look, this is a project you can fully trust, I know them, so she puts her moral authority into the game and say, look, can you please help her, because you know me, I know Namada, we can have that broker of trust also within such relationships. Many doors can be opened where you can knock probably 10 times, Namada, and it won't open by itself. And I think that's also one of the levers of pro bono, which we keep forgetting, and I think it can be very powerful. There's one thing I wanted to build on, because both of you have mentioned it, and that is looking also at the company, because as far as I can see, BMW is currently undergoing a huge transformation process towards more sustainable business models in view of circular production cycles, reduced CO2 footprint, and so on and so forth. And really with a very ambitious framework. And we're seeing the EU Green Deal, which has obviously created also a very ambitious regulatory framework. We're seeing what's happening at the COP right now in Glasgow. So there's a lot of pressure for change. And I'm wondering, Annette, and how far the experience of ReadyGO, the experience of really stepping out of our bubbles and really getting into an experience and really experience something in a very hands-on way, is that helping to tackle this huge change process within the company? Is that something where you think, as a manager or as somebody who's really carrying quite a lot of responsibility, that it creates more aptitude perhaps to tackle the huge also uncertainty which is ahead of you?
I'm not sure whether I understood your question right.
I'll try to put it a different way,
yeah,
Annette. Perhaps it was too complex. It's
you.
really about, does it help us, like stepping out of our bubble, does it help us to develop a mindset to be ready for the big changes that we're currently facing? And we're facing so enormous changes right now at BMW. Is an experience like with Namada or in other projects, does it help you to kind of get that distance to look at your own problem and perhaps in a different perspective, or from change in angle a bit, which I don't know, might be able to support that, to embrace that change in a constructive way?
Yeah, it definitely does. But I must admit, I think, especially in terms of the project we are doing now with Namada, I think designers and also talking about sustainability, we actually were out of this bubble already. So I think that there was an understanding, and we knew that we have the need of doing this. But of course, it helps to also look at different perspectives now, and also look at different complexities. Actually, of course you only know your own way of products. And maybe at BMW, you also just know, of course, with your network within the company, but you have your process. And with Namada now, you see a whole totally new world. And you start to think about what's connected with what, and what do you need to think about, and what is important for not being just superficial. Yeah, I think that is maybe the most important thing. What Namada does is not superficial. It's real. It's serious. It's and that, I think, helps a lot in for our mindset to know that we have to take it serious, and that it, like you said before, that things are connected with each other. You cannot do one thing without tackling the other thing, and I think that is something which helps tremendously in stepping out of this bubble.
Thank you. And Namada, if you look at the collaboration, I think it takes quite an effort from your side as well. You said you're a small team. You have to communicate quite a bit to get everybody aligned. You have to share a lot of information. You probably have to reprioritize at some point to really make this happen. What are, in order to recommend this experience to another social enterprise, what do you think are necessary preconditions that are needed to make such a collaboration a success? Because it is an investment, right? It doesn't come for granted, for free in a way.
Absolutely. No, it does. I mean, at some point, I remember, nothing against the program, but for me, just analyzing my own time, I was thinking, am I not investing too much time into the program, and am I getting back? And it's only been, I think, the past 4 weeks, to be honest with you, is when I'm seeing results. Like, for the example, with Nicole introducing me to this company, or Anne introducing me to his network, who's a designer in a brand. Annette and Nicole, Astrid, doing everything they can to move this needle forward for the BMW group. So I just think, if you want to come on board a program like this, you need to have some sort of a structure. You need to have some sort of a structure, not just like a basic thing, but really know concretely what is that you expect from this program. What do you, because it's really a pity if you do not use these amazing talents that are on the other side of managers. Of course, they're corporate level managers, but at the end of the day, they're just brilliant people and amazing human beings. So it's about how you access that within them to help you. So I'm quite, in my group, I think Anette will probably agree, I'm quite shameless about this whole network thing because I cannot open doors. It's been really difficult. Also, this whole investment thing has been super difficult. I forget this whole equation of being a woman and also a woman, colored woman, which for me mattered, to be honest with you, never mattered to me. But only recently, I'm sort of opening my eyes and seeing all these data, which is true. The percentage of funding that women get versus our counterparts or the VC money that there is out accessible. It's all data, which I never sort of take seriously. But now, going through that process, I see why it's so difficult. You see, so ultimately, I think you need to, as a social business, you ultimately need to know what do you want out of this program very concretely. For us, for me, it's been very concrete. I know the platform probably might even not even launch by the time we finish the program. But I know there is amazing networks on the other side of the group, which I want to desperately get. And there are some brilliant minds who are super passionate about what we do, including Annette, who really sees the whole picture, which is very hard to find people who see the whole picture. And funnily, it also relates to the work she does design-wise with the whole BMW team. So I think get into the program if you clearly know what you want to get out of it. And when you know that you have certain structures in place to also support you, because it's also boring on the other side if you just do like a little to-do lists. You see what I mean? It has to be challenging.
Absolutely. Has to be relevant.
And I think it's so nice what Annette said earlier that working with MetaMuse and with me, he sees things a bit differently now, or it helps her, opens her mind to see. That is one of the greatest compliments I can receive. Because if just the way we work and function, it can change a mindset of a global corporate or change a direction in some way, that's incredible. I mean, baby steps, of course. But if pro bono work can achieve that, then I think there should be more civil and corporate partnerships like this.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's studies in the US which prove that employees' pro bono engagement pays back by higher loyalty towards the company, better knowledge of and sensitivity for customer needs, higher innovation power, all of that. Annette, can you recognize some of this in your own experience?
Yes. Let me just think of. I'm not. Sorry, Elizabeth. I'm not. I was thinking. I was thinking about something different. What Namada was saying. So I lost the question, or I cannot. I don't know whether I can answer this question actually. In terms of innovation and loyalty, I don't know. I have to think about it because I cannot think about something right away, or maybe you keep on going with another.
Yeah, and never mind if you say if we can skip this, no problem. I was just wondering because I found that really interesting that those studies exist and still it's really difficult to find corporate support for pro bono, even though if you do such programs, you can measure that. In the US,
I think
at least
we are doing not enough to really answer this question. Maybe this is why I'm stuck at the moment, because I cannot really see a connection in anything we've done so far. I mean, this is exceptional doing this. Maybe in terms of innovation, I can find the best link. If you just look outside, if you really look outside the box, if you find new connections. I just had a call with somebody today who's doing a totally different program, but also looking into sustainability. And suddenly people say, hey, let's do something together. Maybe we can, we don't care about competition. We don't care about being the first necessarily. We just care about one global aim. And this is, why don't we just develop things together? Why don't we look at things together to make it better, and forget about, of course, it's easy when it's not your direct competitor, for sure. Yeah, but at the same time, it just feels right to connect and to see what are others doing. Can I use another network? Do I get other information innovations through these networks I can use, all for the better aim and for maybe a common target.
Yeah, the shared common purpose, and some make you generous, no, make you easy of handing things on. If you feel aligned. Absolutely.
If that answers your question, that is the closest I can get to your answer.
That was great. Thank you. Absolutely. I'd be interested. Sorry, Namada, go ahead. You want to react to it?
Yeah, sorry. I just had when Anante was speaking, I just had like an insight. Maybe who knows? It's a eureka moment. You know what should go on a level of another level of pro bono is it really corporates are committed to helping such small enterprises where they see there is traction. So, for example, MetaMuse is actually your ideal case scenario. So we are an established business. We have a certain revenue already incoming, and we have a client sheet sort of lined up, and it's only a matter of time that this sheet grows. That we have more clients, and there will be. So you should, I think corporates should think of just adopting such social enterprises. It's like, there's these concepts of like adopt a child or adopt a tree, or adopt a monkey. I think they should just adopt a social enterprise like this with this sort of, minimum criteria is fulfilled, because then you're not putting your thing in. So I find this is probably taking pro bono on another level, because you are indirectly also giving your employees the opportunity to engage with something that is within your framework, because then for example, let's say MetaMuse is not an outside entity. For the few years, it becomes sort of an internal entity of whatever corporate program. And they would say, okay, look, there is this and this person doing this and this. Come and engage with this this program, So I think this would, like we were talking about Annette in the beginning, that there's not enough time or there's not enough commitment, and sort of finding that segue, this could be, Isabe, this is an idea for you to explore on.
I'll take it on. What I love about it, Namada, is that if you adopt a child, you can't give it back after a year, right? I mean, it's a long-term commitment. And I think that long-term would really change a lot, because you would just feel responsible for whatever comes up. And I think also to walk the valleys together, not only the peaks, not only celebrating success, but really say we're in this together. That's something that we pushed a lot as a foundation in the philanthropy. We call it venture philanthropy, so that first of all, you don't only give money, you give all that you have. You give your networks, you give your brand if necessary, you give, whatever seems helpful. And you don't give it to a project, but you give it to an institution which you help to grow over a long time with a real long breath. And taking all the setbacks as your own setbacks. So it's not that they did their job not well and so they won't get money anymore. What you sit together and say, what can we do to get out of this valley together? And I think it's a really different way of looking at things. So you don't lean back and say, you should do a bit more of this. And why didn't you? No. It's more like it's your child. And, you have moments which are beautiful with children, but you have moments of tension as well. And that helps both sides to grow. That's everybody who I've got 3 kids in puberty, so I know what that means. But so that is it's a learning journey. And I think that's much more respectful. So I love the idea.
I totally agree. I mean, it's when you do innovation in a company, or when you do new projects, when you have a vision, transformation, whatever, you always have to give it a time. And it has to also grow. And sometimes, like we said before, it's also steps back. And things develop over years and not necessarily over months. And then you really have a different commitment, in my opinion. I also feel actually that also takes away a bit of the pressure, not in not doing enough, but also maybe to plan differently, to make a longer plan of what should be the short term, the midterm, the long term things. At the moment, Namada, you said we have to do one hit. I was so naive to think that we can actually change a structure here. And that's naive. But it's only naive because we know we're running out of time. I don't believe it's naive when you think about the future of the company. Then it's not naive. Then it is something you have to roll out. You have to find the right people. And I know how it is to change processes here. Yeah, you have to really talk about it several times, get partners on board, which also feel connected then. And this is all not happening in our short-term time and also in the short term of the program.
I think what we need to appreciate, though, is that BMW has opened one of the most prestigious leadership programs to social entrepreneurs, and I think to have them for a year as part of the program. And that was in the initial plan of BMW, and we sort of tried to. We really had a great collaboration. I really must say, there was a lot of trust towards us. They also embraced the idea without knowing who are the entrepreneurs on board. They never vetted and how you would probably vet service providers or so on. So I think there's a lot of trust towards the foundation and towards our network, and I think that's also something to appreciate, that because I think in looking at a leadership program, it is a long-term commitment to have a year-long license to engage into something which has no immediate turnaround for the company. But I agree, it would be beautiful if that would be for even much longer time, and that you also can see that you're also part of the harvesting, that you can take pride in what has grown. And I think that would also be obviously emotionally a much nicer journey than kind of leaving things when you're just about to see what's happening. But I'd also be interested, and for both of you, in how did you get buy-in from both and from your teams, and in your case, Annette, also from your superiors? Are they interested? Are they excited? Are they supportive? Or don't they care? I would be curious to see how that plays into your own institutions. So into your own departments.
Namada, you start so I can think about the diplomatic answer.
I knew you were going to say something like that. For us, we're, like I said in the beginning, I was skeptical, and I think my team was also a bit skeptical. But moving forward, as we almost end the close, I must say there is some movement, some positive movement to actually helping the platform establish itself, and through networks or through just contacts, even that, I think that's worth our while for sure. Like I said, I could never talk to the CEO of the person that I spoke to last week, thanks to Nicole. No way. I would have had contact with him, how, why, and through this program we did that. And that is for me a fantastic example of how, if people from different arenas come together, things can happen. Nothing's happened so far, just to be clear. We're still in discussions. But if something does happen, Isabel, I'm definitely going to tell you, so you can maybe make it a bit of a poster case and share this.
Please do. Yeah.
Because it's really that. This whole serendipitous thing also that you said that we were not vetted. I think there is there is trust, but also I find when you look at nature, there is so much organic growth, and there is beauty and chaos in the harmony. And we, of course, humans, we strive for boxes, and in German they say Schubladen, the drawers, and and structure. But sometimes maybe letting go of that structure and inviting that chaos and that serendipity and that trust is probably what we need for innovation and major change. So given that, we are just grateful that we are part of this amazing program. And I keep telling this to Annette, that you are not going to drop us. As soon as the program is done, you're not going to say, okay, bye-bye, ciao. I'm like, I'm going to...
You're not going to let go.
I think Namada and we thought about doing a dyeing course in India after that program.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Coming back to your answer, to your question, Of course, I'm informing people. I'm talking a lot about this program, just to also hear some other aspects and maybe some ideas. I also tell people why I'm engaged and what I'm doing while I'm sitting here. My hierarchy doesn't know what I'm doing, and I actually haven't talked with them about the program. So I'm rather picking people, and that is with no judgment or anything. I just have other things to discuss. I just rather talk with people who I think could be connected and are really interested in what we are doing. Interesting with the other company last year, ECLOS. It was also nice that I could see we started talking to 2 people, and in the end there were 6 of them or 7. I could just feel. Of course, we were also changing scope within the program, but there was just an interest of talking with each other and getting to know each other and just asking for opinions, even though maybe it wasn't the target for the meeting. And I always hoped I could also install something here, but again, it's a bit of a question of time to also involve more people, because I know that I would have others which are interested in supporting, maybe just joining in. Again, I think that's a interesting idea of elongating the program, not dropping out, just seeing how more people can engage. I think the more you share, the more insight or feedback you get, and the more maybe you can connect and find the right matches, Namada, of which you were talking.
Yeah, I really like the whole idea of serendipity, and I think serendipity doesn't come only by waiting for things to happen. You can create space for serendipity to happen, and I think that's so difficult to convey to people. I think, like, if I look at the context like BMW, where you have, like, I don't know, 7-year horizon planning, and then you have milestones and everything, and then you tell people let serendipity happen. I think we have a difficulty of language there, because it's totally different realities which meet. And I fully understand and respect that it needs those planning horizons and it needs the preciseness of a process. But then again, I deeply believe that serendipity is something we need more trust in, and then beautiful things will happen. I'd like to finish off now. Sorry, go ahead, Annette.
No, I'm just saying these 7 years ahead planning. Yes, we do that, but meanwhile we are changing things all the time.
Yes, I imagine so.
Yeah, and there's chaos in between. It just, of course, you have your milestones. You know when your car is going into production, but in between, what happens is also, it's not that stiff and that.
I imagine, and reality plays in every day, I guess. Yeah. To finish off, I'd like to invite you both to perhaps think of, as both of you come from the design space, perhaps you can share an image that you have in mind to describe the journey that you've been venturing in. You know, would it be a bumpy road, or a seed you plant to harvest something beautiful later, or a sports team that you train for a competition, whatever? What are the images that come to your mind if you look at the journey you're doing together?
I mean, for me, it's quite easy, because MetaMuse, the image for MetaMuse is, because we are a B2B platform, our image is a bridge. Because ultimately, we are building a bridge to connect artisans who come from a design space and a hand space to the other side, who are either sellers or buyers or corporates, and who would then present it to the world. Because I mean, creators are not necessarily the best sellers, to some degree. So for us, definitely the image of the bridge, and I would say it's the same for us here, because just the fact that I'm sitting here and talking to both of you is just the image of a bridge, of being connected with you both, and also everybody in the ReadyGO program, as not just like corporate employees, but these incredible human beings with intelligence and passion and purpose and compassion. And it's seen over and over again. And ultimately, to be connected through that bridge and to see that we're all alike and we all want the same thing, ultimately, of course, in different colors and different sizes. But ultimately, what we want is that. So if we can all work together and cross that bridge together, or even meet in between, you know. So I think for me, it's that image of a bridge.
Yeah, thank you. Also connecting two worlds, and if you're connected, you start interchanging, and that's how trade works and so on. If you have a bridge, you start mixing, right? No, thank you. Annette, do you have an image in your mind?
Maybe the most is so I see a sunny horizon. Something which is, I don't know, tempting to go to, yeah, something which is attracting, and maybe a lot of different paths coming together in one. Yeah, we come from different directions, we have different expertises, but at the end, we all have one aim. Maybe I have another image, because I think that was an image when we reconstructed the design department here, the overall. It's a lot of threads coming together and building one beautiful big rope.
Nice.
And I think that's also, because then you suddenly feel, you have your competency, you have your expertise, maybe you're an individual with your own ideas, mind, and then everything comes together and you become stronger. I think that's the good thing about the rope. When you because then it's untearable in a way. And
that's very nice. And also, as long as you're in your own little thread, you sometimes feel fragile and you sometimes feel that it's not really leading to somewhere. But when it comes together, it becomes very stable and strong and lasting. Beautiful.
Nice.
Thank you to both of you. Sorry, Namada.
Then I'm going to steal that image. That's pretty cool.
Do so. Thank you to both of you for taking the time, for sharing your experience. I think that was incredibly helpful. And I hope that we can inspire other companies to go for such a program. And perhaps one day we'll have BMW adopt a few great social enterprises in the long run and see them grow up and turn to adults. I hope so. Let's work on this, and thank you for your passion, for your engagement, and it was a real pleasure having you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.